So, hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining this learning session about customer relationship management for MSMEs and freelancers. And this presentation actually has two parts. The first part is the overview of customer relationship management. And then the other one is all about using messenger and chat tools for you to communicate with your customers. Although chatbots are also growing in terms of popularity, but admittedly, not everyone has access to those tools. So we stick to the basic ones that usually MSMEs need to use to get started. So when we talk about one of the lessons that we started discussing recently, and we started this in our last session, is all about the inbound methodology. And when you talk about doing your digital marketing, you normally go through these four phases. No, paano ba tayo nag-attract? Paano ba tayo nagkakaroon ng sales, whether we are an MSME or a freelancer? We usually go through the process of attracting. So in the process of attracting, we use blogs. Of course, we also do SEO para people can find us through search engine results. And then we also publish content on social media. And for some of you who have seen our invitation to these type of events and who have seen or who have discovered this series through the videos that we share online, those are examples of attraction, no, attraction content. So the idea is to convert strangers to become visitors. And of course, when they become visitors of the content, that's where the invitation comes in, like our ecom summit.asia slash mentoring where you sign up. That is an example of a landing page. It has a call to action, and it has a form that you can fill up. And then when you fill it up, you become a lead, no? And then when the person proceeds and participate, no, normally when a person fills up the form or starts engaging with you through Facebook private message or start chatting with you through your chat platforms, like in our case, one of the tools that we also use is Zopin. Um, then then that is your stage where you try to build a stronger relationship and to connect better with your target market, and hopefully in the process you'll be able to convert them as customers. In our case, if you notice, the we do only we do our sales pitches, but not really a heavy sales pitch. We just share you what we do. We use our programs as our case study so that you can partly discover us more. And we also talk about our Patreon program, and then that's where some of you join us. So those are examples of mild closing statements. No? And of course, once the deal is closed, then you can move on to the next level of satisfying your target market, getting feedback from them, and hopefully in the process, you'll be able to encourage them to promote to promote your content. So, for example, if you reach the stage where you are already sharing this to others, then that means that maybe in some ways we have delighted you already, and that is why you are sharing it to others. Although there are people that even though they're delighted, they don't want to share it with others because it's like an advantage that you can keep for yourself. But of course, from a perspective of a marketer, when the lead or the customer starts sharing their materials to others, then that is also a sign that you have delighted that person so much to the point that they can help but share you to others. All right. So the one of the biggest challenge for MSMEs and freelancers is how do we record and follow up on leads, and how do we keep track of customers. And this is a big realization for me around 3 to 4 years ago, because in the old days when I got started, I used to have Yahoo groups, or even before that we have Mayordomo mailing list. That's where we keep in touch with people. And later on, of course, websites. Then, of course, websites are used more to interact, and a lot of the interaction happens through email. Whenever I give talks on events, I would ask people to fill up survey forms, and then I would ask them to fill up a form, and then I would connect with them on LinkedIn. Or if I meet someone, I would add them on Facebook. So that is how much of a customer relationship management system I have. Or when people join our email e-learning series back in 2003 and 2008, we just have a compilation of email, and then we send them lessons from time to time. But we never really got the chance to build our database because I'm very careful with our emails because, when you have an old email, like for example, I have janet at digitalfilipino.com, which is an email address since 1999. You can just imagine the amount of spam that I get in my email address. And hence the reason why um, I'm also very careful in sending emails because when you send webinar invites, among others, sometimes for some reason, they also go to the spam folder. Maybe that person has declined webinar invitations in the past from other platforms. Therefore, it drags your email address, but actually it is the IP address of the platform that was blocked or whatever email system that we were using. Like at that time, we were also using GetResponse, Benchmark Email, MailChimp, among others. So there is a need for a process where you can record and follow up on leads and how do you keep track of customers. Since I'll be focusing on a lot of demos, I'll be doing a lot of demos today. I'd like to keep this discussion straight to the point and so that we can dive on to the demos immediately. So when we want to build a customer relationship management system so that you can record your leads, it is important that you have a cycle in mind that you want to follow. So for me, this is my cycle. No, it was only as I said around 4 years ago when I really started building my own CRM because I realized that even though I have almost 15,000 connections on Facebook, the same on LinkedIn, and then like 20,000 on our Facebook pages, and let's say factoring all overlaps. Let's say it's just plain 20,000. It's hard to really build a relationship with 20,000 people. You can really have only like you can only communicate like with 200 people a year, no, with some serious form of communication. And hence the reason why you need to build a customer relationship management system. And as I also mentioned the last time, that is also the reason why I didn't invest much on advertising anymore compared to how I used to be dependent on it before. And precisely for that reason, I realized I have so much connections on social media that I am not exactly taking care of. And that is the reason why we focus more of our content sharing this time more on our connection friends list rather than to the public at large, because I'd rather strengthen my relationship with the existing network that I have already, that I haven't fully tapped. No? So your idea there is to build relationship with your leads, and hopefully you'll be able to sustain your relationship with your customers. So there's a separate distinction between leads and with your customers. In building relationship with your leads, you're more into adding value. So like for example, when you first join the session, it's all about building a relationship with you. And let's say if you are my student already or you're one of our patrons, I have to make sure that I'll be able to sustain that relationship by creating uh, content that would satisfy or further delight you as a customer or as a patron. And hence, to be able to do that, you have to strive to become relevant by adding value, and hopefully in the process you will become likable and preferred. um, when if all things are equal, let's say you know three people who can render you a service, and if all things being equal, like they're good at what they do, they have good clientele, they have great skills, at the end of the day you're still gonna settle with someone who is likable, no? um, and even when things are not equal, you would still prefer dealing with someone who is likable to you. I mean, the one that you feel most comfortable in dealing with, and maybe because of the relationship that he or she has established with you. So, the customer relationship management process, at least in my belief, is that you need to establish four things: your support, your marketing, your sales, your orders. Now, the question usually is which one do you build first? In my experience in training MSMEs, no, and in freelancers, my first priority is to build support content first. And the reason for that is your support content can also be part of your marketing content. No? The last thing that you want is you start marketing, you start selling, and then by the time people sign on, you don't have anything ready to support your customer. So ideally, you must build your support content first before you start doing marketing or sales. For other people, they might have a different perspective on that, but that is my perspective. No, I'd rather start by building support content first before I do my marketing, before I do my sales. Like, for example, I'm rolling out another set of training programs for the Rural Impact Sourcing Technical Training this year, or for another round of e-commerce and digital marketing mentoring program for MSMEs this year. I have to make sure that even before those opportunities came in, I have already established my support content. And hence the reason why I'm also building this entire webinar series to be able to create that support content. Para bang you prepare, you anticipate, you build all the necessary infrastructure, hindi yung gagawin mo lang kapag nandun ka na. Yun yung sinasabi natin, nagiging proactive ka. And in the process also, it's also attracting opportunities for you kasi parang ino-own mo na siya. Kasi parang sinasabi na, mangyayari na yan, no? In one way or the other, it's gonna happen. That's why I'm building this, no? So, so you need to build your education content. If you have to establish trainings, because whatever product or service that you're coming up with, you have to train people. So build your training content beforehand and anticipate what concerns people might have, and find ways that you can resolve those concerns beforehand and don't wait for them to arise. And then this is an important part of your customer relationship management infrastructure, because if you can destroy any relationship with your leads or destroy any relationship with your customers if you are not able to provide them with the necessary solution. No? So that is why this is something that you build beforehand. And for me, this is important because this is an important component of building a relationship with your leads and sustaining the relationship with your customers. Okay. The next part is marketing. So for marketing, it depends on you whether you want, if you're new, maybe you want to start with a 21-day campaign. If you are the kind of person who's very progressive in a sense that you have a big picture idea of what your campaign is all about, and you have a long-term perspective of your campaign, then I would suggest that you go for a 66-day campaign. This year, at least for my students, what I teach them is the 21-day campaign. Although for our certified e-commerce entrepreneur, we push them to do a 66-day campaign. Personally, my campaigns are all 66 days. No? In the past, medyo paiba-iba, pero this year talagang mas nag-commit ako for a 66-day campaign. And in fact, this entire series, itong free e-commerce and digital marketing mentoring program for MSMEs and freelancers, is a 66-day campaign. And I'm telling you right now that if you do a 66-day campaign correctly, as I said earlier in our very, very first YouTube lesson that I posted on Introduction to E-commerce, Digital Marketing, and Freelancing, if you do your digital marketing right, you'll be able to hit the 20% who will give you your 80%. So parang it's like saying that I'm gonna do all of this, pero I don't care about the 80%. I'm gonna focus on the 20% who will give me opportunities that will take care of my 80%. And that means the series that I'm going to do up to March will take care of me for the entire year based on the opportunities that it will lead upon. No? So that is the idea why you want to create a 66-day campaign and really, really, really thinking about it on how you're going to go about it. And you match it with your support content. No? And then, of course, when you do your marketing, you'll be able to run your campaign. And in the process, you will be able to build a leads database or people who would like to know more about your product or service. And if you're following my idea on focusing on your 20%, narrow through those leads who is the 20%. It's like, yeah, a lot of people are attending my webinars, but I have to zoom in who is the 20%. That's going to make a big difference. I'm not saying that I'm not going to accept patrons that are not in that range of 20%, but actually those who convert to patrons or who convert to students, they are the 20%, no? And those who will be creating further opportunities. And connect with them, no? Kasi you will not be able to connect to everybody. I mean, like in my case, I don't think I'll be capable of connecting to 20,000 people every day. Maybe, yeah, I can spam. I can send email blasts and send emails to a lot of people, but I know that's not really going to work as is. So um, I have to be targeted and be focused on my approach, and at the same time maximize whatever resources I have. So by creating this content and making it available online, so that's doing its own marketing job for me. No? So that's the idea there. So from marketing, you want to move into sales. So you connect with your leads, you qualify them as to which ones are good, that you really can establish with a relationship with, and then who are those who are just there to who can benefit from your content. Yeah, okay, just build that relationship, because who knows, 5 years from now they'll be qualified to take advantage of what you have to offer. And of course, that means you have to have a long term. No? If you remember the last time I talked about Fascinate, where I learned about Sally Hogshead back in 2009 or 2010, uh, but it was only 2 years ago that I converted to become a Fascinate certified advisor. So it means it took her like 5 years or 6 years to convert me as a customer. Although I have bought her reports, I have bought her books, but to buy her premium products, it took me 5 years because I have to grow also as a person, of course, with the help of her content, and reach that point where I can afford or avail whatever she is offering. So qualify your leads, send them proposals, track your response to them, and then hopefully you'll be able to push for a conversion. Um, and then, of course, if you have sales, you have to manage your orders as well. And I'm not sure if we are similar in this aspect. I must admit, I'm not really. If you're a one man show, it's really hard to do all the billing by yourself as well. So if you can work with an assistant who can take care of those things for you, I would suggest that you do so. So orders can be billing or payment, product or service delivery, or feedback, and including feedback management, especially if they are having a hard time using the program, among others. Make sure that you get that first phase done, because that is not a job of support yet. It's really more onboarding them into the system. Okay, so I believe we have questions. Ray asks, aside from length of time, what are the differences between a 21-day campaign and a 66-day campaign? Actually, Ray, I think by default it is almost the same, but the difference between a 66-day campaign is really all about solidifying your brand, because on a 21-day campaign, usually 21-day campaigns are seasonal. Like maybe, okay, you want to start working now for the upcoming school year, or you want to run a campaign for Holy Week, you want to run a campaign for Labor Day, you want to run a campaign for the Christmas season, you want to run a campaign for Halloween, or you want to run a campaign for Christmas. So usually that's a typical 21-day campaign, which are very seasonal. If you're an MSME, a 21-day campaign can also focus on brand building. Usually, for people participating in our programs, these are usually brand building exercises, because this is the first time that they are marketing themselves. Um, 66-day campaign, let's say in the case of you and I, where we've both been players in this field for so long, like you've been in the writing field for so long, I've been in the e-commerce training field for so long. It's all about solidifying your position in the market. It's like, yeah, there are a lot of people marketing out there, but I'm doing something that they're not doing. You're trying to strengthen your brand equity. You want to strengthen the relationship that you have with your audience, and it's not about the size of the audience. It's not about how many they are. It's about um, the people that you're dealing with, the people that you're interacting with, and you're really making a difference to these people that you are able to attract. I think that's the most important thing. Um, Kaya nga, sa class ko, I usually emphasize to people, like when I was in Bacolod, uh, last Was that last week? Yeah, last week, no? Sabi ko sa kanila, wag sila magpapacarried away masyado sa mga likes, no? Like, for example, yung mga students ko na uma-attend doon sa Bacolod, I asked them how many of them have liked my post when I announced that I'm going to Bacolod. How many of them did they like? How many of them liked the WOFEX University announcement that we're gonna have a training there? And almost all of them, I think 95% did not like it. No, I mean, di sila nag-like nun sa content, di rin sila nag-comment. Talagang nag-PM lang sila or tumawag lang sila to convert. No? So, kaya ito yung so sa ganitong process, kailangan doon ka magfo-focus, yung hanapin mo yung audience na seryoso. Pero at the same time, tahimik. Ito yung audience na hindi maingay, hindi pala like, hindi pala comment. Kasi sa experience ko, minsan yung mga nag-like, nagko-comment, most of the time, they're not the ones who's gonna convert as a customer to you. So it's really all about finding the quiet ones who appreciates what you do and get them to act and to convert to what you have to offer. Okay, so I hope that helps Ray. No? So so what is the progression of a sale? So earlier we talked about the cycle, okay, building relationship, sustaining your relationship by striving to become relevant, by adding value and becoming likable and preferred. And then I talk about that you need to take care of four areas: support, marketing, sales, and orders. And then you also have to think about the progression of a sale. A sale can take some time. Usually, it would take 30 days to as much as to 5 years, or it may never happen. No, or that person will not necessarily convert to a sale, but that person will generate will become a referral person for you. Kasi di ba may mga person na ganun eh. Hindi mo sila magiging, never mo sila magiging customer kasi siguro depending on their situation. Pero sila yung nag-generate ng referral opportunities for you. Sila yung nagre-refer sa'yo to other opportunities. But let's say in a generic manner, you need to plan your point of contact. No? So let's say when a person inquires on contact one, you will answer their email or their chat message, especially if they PM you or maybe reply to what you have to offer. And maybe you send them something useful, something that can help them further understand what you have to offer, not necessarily a sales pitch material right away, but something that can, like a guide or an ebook that or a webinar or a YouTube video that you have that they can watch and see that, hey, you have something nice to offer. And then you can move to the second contact, which is the follow up. Do you have further questions? And maybe you can share another set of useful materials. Follow up can take some time because sometimes contact number one doesn't get completed because that person is not exactly reading the email messages. Maybe you have to do contact one twice, no? So with contact two, maybe it can happen right away or it may happen a few days later pa. So we have further questions and maybe you want to send another useful material. But actually, a lot of people after contact one, they fall out. What do I mean by that? Pag sinabing fall out, alimbawa, si Annalyn nag-inquire sa akin, pinadalan ko siya ng email. Tapos, ganun lang. Okay, nagsagot ako sa PM niya. But if Annalyn does not reply to me, hindi ko na rin siya re-replyan. Yun yung example ng fallout. Hindi ka na mag-attempt na magkaroon ng contact to. So, for MSMEs, maybe if you have a big database, maybe you can get away with that because you have multiple sources of opportunities. But if you are an MSME and a freelancer, if you are running after your very first client or you're targeting 10 per month and you are only in your fifth client, wala ka pang 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then the more that you have to be diligent on your follow through, no? So contact to, follow up, you have further questions, send them another material. Minsan sasagot, minsan hindi. Pero kung nagbasa ng email, that's a good sign. That is why you need to use tools na nakikita mo kung binabasa ba yung email mo o hindi. If the person read your email, then follow up ulit. Is there anything you need to know to help you push through with your decision? Baka may kulang na lang na kailangan sagutin. Normally, sa contact tree, I usually send a breakup email. A breakup email is something like, Hi, I sent you an email before. I also sent you a follow up. However, I have not heard from you. So I assume that you're not ready yet, or maybe you're not interested. If I don't hear from you, uh, then I would assume that you're either of the two. Okay, and I hope there's nothing else, or there's nothing wrong, or wala namang problem sa'yo, what have you, no? Um, and then hindi mo na sila papadala ng email. And usually breakup emails are very effective kasi yung mga talagang very interested, usually they reply to breakup emails. Hi, sorry, I have not been able to reply to you. Actually, I'm interested, but my problem is right now, limited yung pera ko, parang yung budget ko ngayon para mag-attend ng training is very limited, o kaya meron na kasi nagbigay sa akin ng scholarship in another program, kaya hindi mo na ako makaka-attend. But I appreciate that you took time to reply to me. But please note that if I know of friends na interest na baka may ganitong klaseng need, I would definitely recommend you. Minsan may mga sumasagot ng gano'n, no? So, but it is important that you follow up kasi otherwise you wouldn't know, di ba? And it will also give you a sense of what was the barrier that they're encountering kaya hindi sila nag-proceed dun sa sale. Maybe if contact number 3 is not successful for one reason or another, you still want to build a contact with that person. So that's why tuloy-tuloy yung buhay. No? Useful material, build connection, useful material, have a dialogue, useful material, explore further options, useful material, alternative conversion. When people ask me, bakit kami nagkaroon ng Patreon system, sabi ko, hindi naman kasi lahat ready maging student. Sometimes they just want to be, they just want to enjoy your content. So our Patreon system is our alternative for people who are not yet ready to become part of our certified program. No? Kaya nakakatulong yung, remember I told you the last time that you need to have different types of product or services. Meron kang pang one-time sale, pang repeat sale, upsell, pang cross-sell, um, opportunities that will allow you to have a short-term relationship and opportunities that will allow you to have a long-term relationship. Um, for me right now, I'm not really that interested with short-term relationship, o di ba? Pero of course, when we do our one-day trainings on WOFEX, puro mga one day lang yon. So tawag ko doon, short-term relationship. At saka when we get invited for talks like the one I did recently in Thailand. That's an example of a short-term relationship. But you attending this whole series, so far who have been attending since lesson 1, now we're on our lesson 10. I think, pwede ko na sabihin, we now have a long-term relationship, di ba? Kasi you've stayed, di ba? Okay, so when you think about your sale again, the cycle, the process for marketing, sales, support, and orders. You need to think about your progression. And the moment you determine your progression, then you're now ready to create your workflow, no, and template. Medyo laro yung numbers dito, no. So the first time a person inquires from you, usually you can send them an email, or they contact you through social media, so you can send them a private message, or you have a landing page, and that is where you can have an acquired lead. And day 2 to 7 is maybe you've replied to them and further explore that conversation. Although hindi ko to nagagawa masyado ngayon, no? Pero before, the moment na mag-inquire ka sa akin, hahanapin kita sa Facebook at i-add kita as a friend, no? So, yan, yung pag-build ng social media connection. Usually, in my emails, I would ask if you want me to call you so that we can discuss further. So, merong call. And then, there's an email para maganda kung may email pa rin para mag-follow up. No? So, that's why in this webinar series, if you notice, after attending today's webinar, tomorrow you will be informed that the webinar video is up. If you miss this webinar, you will still get an email informing you that the webinar video is up. Okay? Follow up can be depending on the relationship that you have already with this person. Pwedeng may article sharing. Pwedeng deliberate ka na i-invite mo sila sa isang event mo, whether it's an online event or a face-to-face event. just to establish that communication. And that is why you need to have something of a series. It depends no, on what product or service that you're selling. If you are selling products, maybe an event invite will not be appropriate unless you are having a sale, and therefore sending event invites, letting people that your sale period will happen during this period can help. Um, and if you want the deal, what do you do? For me, kung yung person nag-sign up, of course, if they sign up through Patreon, we email them through Patreon. If they sign up as one of our certification program students, we add them to Basecamp. If they join one of our masterminds, they get added to Basecamp as well. If they convert as a certification student, we have a Facebook group. People ask me bakit ayokong gumawa ng Facebook group para sa mga nagjo-join ng sessions na to. Sabi ko, mahirap mong manage ng Facebook group. I don't want to start something that I cannot follow through. No? And then, at the same time, ano rin kasi siya, database din kasi siya eh. Para bang the moment gumawa ka ng group, parang sinabi mo na, lahat na nandito, to yung mga nag-a-attend ng webinar, then that is already a targeted database. And if you are as cautious as I am, you will not share a targeted database to others that easily, and make it an easy target for others to penetrate in. Eh ako nagtrabaho for it, di ba? So ganun siya, no? So think about your workflow. Now, if you notice in all of these workflow, palagi siyang merong email, no? Kaya napaka-importante yung email throughout the cycle. Of course, your email can also be sent to social media private messages. It depends on what you're comfortable with, but definitely send an email. Okay, so let us do a quick demo of Nimble and HubSpot. All right, so let's do that. I'm curious, meron ba sa inyong willing mag-volunteer who would like to give your email address and contact number para kayo yung i-add ko sa CRM? Would anyone like to volunteer? If you're okay to volunteer, just reply sa chat and give your name and email, and I will add you to our CRM. Mahirap kasi magpakita ng contact ng iba, di ba? So, kaya sa inyo na lang ako hihingi kung sino sa inyo willing mag-volunteer. May volunteer kaya? Sana may mag-volunteer sa inyo. Okay, so while waiting for some of you, I hope some of you will be interested in volunteering your contact details. So, ipapakita ko lang muna si Nimble. Thank you, Sheila. Sheila, if you can give your mobile number, that would be great. Okay, so this is an example of this is Nimble. So Nimble is a customer relationship management system. I've been using this for quite some time kasi okay naman siya. You can try this for free as well. And if you want to learn more about Nimble, you can check. We have a special link for it in case you want to sign up and avail of our. I think pag sa amin yata mas mahaba yung free trial, no? Yung bit.ly/nimble7 if you want to try it out. So ang features niya, it includes yung pag CRM, and then meron siyang intelligent tracking, may pipeline management din siya, and then social profile matching, and then meron din siya mga plugins that you can add to your site. Okay? So normally, like when you sign up for ecomsummit.asia/mentoring, mapapansin nyo, meron kaming form dyan, no? So when people fill up the form, normally we add them to our CRM. So for this purpose, i-add natin si Sheila Basbas, who is one of our participants for this webinar session and who volunteered her email address for this discussion. So ang gagawin ko, isa-search ko siya, Sheila M. Basbas at gmail.com. So, hahanapin ko kung nasa database ko na ba siya to begin with. So, Sheila, mukhang nasa database na pala kita to begin with. So, bubuksan ko siya. And then, makikita ko yung contact details niya. No? And then, napansin nyo, meron din siyang other information na binibigay sa akin, including ano ang cloud score niya. Andyan din yung LinkedIn profile niya, no? At sabi rito, siya ay taga Naga City. Okay? So, ano yung influence niya? Anong topics ang usually na dinidiscuss niya? Where does she live? And if she has websites, if you notice, naka-link din yung kanyang website. Actually, hindi ako nag-add ng information na yan. So, the moment na mag-verify yung identity ng person, ang gagawin niya, titingnan niya kung itong email address na to, ginagamit ba siya sa mga social networks, tapos binabato siya sa akin. And then all I have to do is to verify whether this person is accurate or not. Ang hindi ko verified ay yung kanyang LinkedIn profile. Tama ba yung LinkedIn mo, Sheila? So, let's say, napansin nyo, tinanong niya, is this Sheila too? So, pwede kong tignan yung kanyang LinkedIn profile, professional freelancer, at Bichara Theater. Tama ba yan, Sheila? So, actually, pwede kong puntahan yung LinkedIn profile. So, sabi niya, this is an old LinkedIn profile. Pero let's say, sabihin natin, yan yon. So, i-okay ko siya. And then, nagbigay din siya ng Facebook link. So, I have to check whether this Facebook link is accurate or not. So, pupunta natin yung Facebook niya. Titingnan natin kung siya ba yan. Okay? So pansin nyo, iba yung nilink niya na Facebook. So mukhang ito yung old Facebook ni Sheila, but if Sheila has a new Facebook already, then pwedeng yun. So old na rin yata yung Facebook dito, no? So pwedeng kung hindi yan yon, pwede ko siyang isara. Okay? And then, pwede ko rin i-search yung kanyang contact info via Nimble Prospector para i-discover ko pa siya further. So, there are some emails assigned to this record. Okay? Hold on. So, kung okay na siya, pwede ko pa siyang i-elaborate further, no? Now, ang ginagawa ko usually kapag merong contact number, let's say I have the contact number of a person at gusto kong mahanap kung nasaan siya, ang gagawin ko, isa-search ko yung mobile number niya sa Facebook. Tapos kung ano yung lumabas na profile na affiliated dun sa number na yun, that could be the person. Now, kung parang hindi siya active, lalo na pag walang photo, di syempre ang dating noon, hindi na siya active. Then, of course, there's the usual traditional way, which is i-type mo yung name ng person, tapos hanapin mo siya. Pero as we know naman, may mga tao na hindi nila ginagamit yung name nila as their profile account, di ba? So, may mga ganong situation. So, kapag ganon, na parang hindi mo talaga matrace, edi, hayaan mo na lang, no? Pero kung matrace mo siya at malaman mo kung sino siya, yun na yun. Sheila, ikaw ba to? Ito works at stay-at-home parent and listens to Yen Constantino. Ikaw ba yan? So, kung siya yan, so sabi niya, hindi rin daw siya yan. No? So, pag ganyan na parang hindi ka sure, then hindi ka makakapag-add. Pero the moment na ma-pinpoint mo who that person is, then pwede mo na siyang i-add as a connection. So, that is what I would usually do. So, doon ako dati, kaya unti-unti dumami yung contacts ko sa Facebook. Kasi lahat ng nag-i-inquire, o kaya gaya nga nag-join sa webinar, may time na gagawin ko, upuan ko yan, tapos isa-isahin ko yan, tihingnan ko kung Facebook friend na ba kita o hindi, i-add kita sa Facebook, or I'm gonna connect with you on LinkedIn. Pero usually, dahil mas effective na pang relationship building ang Facebook, so I would more or less rely on Facebook more in building a relationship, especially with leads, no? Unless the topic is something that is not usually discussed on social media. Okay? Now, the next part is, pwede ako magpadala ng email sa kanya. So, Sheila, I hope you don't mind na papadalang kita ng email. So, let's say si Sheila, kunwari nag-inquire siya dun sa aking Certified E-Commerce Entrepreneur Program. So, papadalang ko na siya ng email. So, mapansin nyo, ito yung sinasabi ko na ready na yung email. Usually, you would like to foster engagement. In comparison to other emails, medyo mahaba to. Ito yung long form email. Di ba may mga short form email, may mga long form email. Ito long form email siya kasi ang assumption doon is that even though the person have visited the website, you wanna articulate the offer again through email at ano yung price, including deposit instruction if this person would like to push through. So, ilalagay ko siya dyan, isi-send ko sa kanya, and then, pagka-send ko, ang gagawin ko, pwede ako mag-assign ng lead. No? So, halimbawa, lead type niya, let's say, lead. And then, status niya, pwedeng, ano pa lang siya, lead pa lang siya. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa kita nakakontakt, no? And then, pwede ako mag-add ng source, no? So, pwedeng maglagay ako ng source. Pwede ko naman itong i-edit. So, pwedeng ang isang source na ilalagay ko can be webinar, no? And then, mag-a-add ako ng deal value. So, since this is the Certified E-Commerce Professional Program, and then, ang value niya, kung ika-cash siya, ganito yung value niya. So, pwede akong maglagay ng close date. So, for the sake of discussion, Feb 28, email sent. Tapos, sabihin ko, webinar demo. Para baka mamaya magulat si Sheila, makatanggap siya ng follow-up email sa akin. Kaya kailangan lagay ko webinar demo. And then, isa-save ko na siya. Alright? So, pansin nyo, nakalagay na siya ngayon as a lead. Tapos, meron akong deal worksheet na dun sa deal worksheet ko, makikita ko lahat ng leads na wino-workout ko. So, for example, iba pala itsura niyan. Tingin tayo ng ibang look. Gawin natin siyang parang pipeline. So, pwede mo siyang i-deal worksheet na parang mukha siyang pipeline. So, this is an example of how a pipeline might look like. Okay? So, ganun siya, no? Para more or less makita nyo kung paano yung itsura ng may progression ka ng mga leads mo. Alright? So, that's one way of how to do it. Papansin nyo, medyo may pagka-manual siya. Yun lang yung hindi ganun sa kanya. You have to use plugins para yung information from one site magko-connect na sa site mo. Like for example, I'm gonna use Zapier to do that. Now, another tool that you can use is actually HubSpot. No? So for example, if you use HubSpot, nag-add ka ng HubSpot free marketing plugin, pwede kang magkaroon ng lead form sa website mo. Okay? Sorry. Yung pop-up na lead form na yon, teka, tingnan natin kung lalabas yung lead form natin. Baka hindi na lumabas, na-click ko na siya eh. Pero ang idea doon is that habang view mo yung isang site, merong magda-drop down na form dyan. Meron tayo nagawa ng ganun before. Sino ba magandang bisitahin? I think nandito si PJS Coding Specialist. Okay, so halimbawa, nagpunta tayo kay PJS Coding Specialist. She's from one of our webinar participants, no? So halimbawa, habang biniview mo yung website, ayan. So are you interested in becoming a reseller? So mag-fill up ka ng form. And then, kapag itong form na to, finila pa mo, magpapadala siya ng info dun sa person. Okay? So, kapag nagpadala siya ng info dun sa person, papasok siya sa HubSpot database. If you visit HubSpot, or if this is your first time to visit HubSpot, you can go to hubspot.com/CRM. So, yung CRM ni HubSpot, free siya. Sinimbol, may bayad. Pero free siya, no? So, meron din siyang deal tracker. Tapos, pwede kang mag-create ng teams mo. Sa Nimble kasi, pag nag-a-add ka ng mga team members, may bayad siya. Sa HubSpot, free siya. Pero ang difference lang, wala siya ng mga social media marketing tools na pinakita ko kanina. I think those features are also included, but those are part of a premium subscription. So for our students, ito ang pinapagamit ko, yung HubSpot. So yeah, mag-i-install ka ng, if you're using WordPress, you add the plugin, i-connect mo lang yung WordPress account mo to this one, then automatic naka-install na yung tracking code, gagawa na siya ng lead flow, tapos sasabihin sa'yo kung meron na ba nag-fill up ng form, and yun, no, pwede mo nang makita kung sino-sino yung mga nag-fill up ng form. Tapos, meron din siyang tracker. So, dahil may tracker siya, malalaman mo rin kung meron bang bumalik. So, halimbawa, ito raw yung nag-fill up ng form, tapos ito raw yung bumalik sa website mo. No? So, gaya nga Sheila. Sheila, nagbalik ka raw dun sa site. So, si Sheila might have filled up our form, tapos bumalik siya dun sa site. And then, meron siyang lead capture. So, makikita mo kung sino yung mga nag-fill up ng form mo. So, halimbawa, collected forms. So, ipapakita niya kung anong forms ang ginawa mo. Tapos, kung ilan na yung nag-fill up ng form mo. No? Ayan. So, ilan na raw yung mga ilan na raw yung mga nag-fill up ng forms. And then, sino yung mga contacts na nag-fill up ng form? Makikita mo rin dyan. Now, normally, para mas makapag-in touch ka sa kanila, pupunta ka sa HubSpot Sales. So, sa HubSpot Sales, pwedeng nagtatrack ka ng leads dyan, tapos lahat ng mga nag-fill up ng form sa'yo, dyan mo susulatan. So, halimbawa, titingnan natin yung contacts. Ito yung mga nag-fill up ng form dun sa website. Okay? So, let's say, merong nag-fill up ng form. So tingin tayo ng isang nag-fill up ng form. Yung kay Sheila na lang ulit. So, bas. Okay, so si Sheila nag-fill up siya ng form. So, medyo matagal-tagal na to. So, nakikita natin yung details niya. Ito yung information na inon niya. So, nag-fill up siya ng form tungkol dun sa aming digital influencer marketing program. No? So, ang challenge mo lang sa HubSpot, you can actually connect HubSpot to your MailChimp account para nag-auto-email siya. Kaya lang kasi yung paggamit ko ng HubSpot, ginamit ko lang siya for class demo. No? Mas talagang ginagamit ko yung Nimble. No? Pero halimbawa, kung dito ka, at nandito na yung profile ng ating person, mapapansin nyo, limited lang yung information natin doon sa profile niya. Sinabi niya ilang beses siya nag-visit, ilang pages yung kanyang view. No? So, pwedeng pupunta ka doon sa email. You need to connect your Gmail para makapagpadala ka ng email sa kanya. So, magko-connect ako ng Gmail ko. Okay. So, mukhang kailangan kong i-authorize. Okay, so nagko-connect tayo. Kasi I log into my other HubSpot account. Kasi yung isang account mo can be part of different groups. So, halimbawa, lahat ng website ko, may kanya-kanya silang HubSpot account. So, yung email address ko is part of multiple groups na. No? So, parang ganun yung situation right now. So, dapat nagbalik tayo pero hindi tayo nagbalik. So, balik tayo ulit sa profile ni Sheila. So, ngayon makakapagpadala na ako ng email kay Sheila. So, for example, in this case, nag-fill up si Sheila ng form. So, let's say, ang pipiliin kong form sa kanya ay yung aming, ito siguro, yung digital marketing program. Okay. Hindi. Palitan natin yung template. Yan o, ito yung sinasabi ko na meron tayong Fascinate. Okay. So ito yung finilapan niya. So binigay ko yung information among others, no? So let's say ready ko na tong ipadala sa kanya. So isi-send ko na ngayon yung email, no? So associated siya with Sheila. Pwede kong lagay dito na mag-connect ako ng deal. Pwede ako mag-create ng follow-up task, like for example, if follow up ko siya within 3 business days, no? So isi-send ko na ngayon to. Alright, so meron dito nakalagay, nagpadala ako ng email, and then pwede akong mag-create ng deal. So ano tong deal na to? So ang deal natin is the influencer program. Tapos, ang pipeline niya ay yung aking digital influencer marketing. So, email sent siya ngayon. So, let's say, ano ba tong program na to? I think it's 40. Tapos, lalagyan ko siya ng close date. No? And then, yun na siya. So, create. So, nag-create tayo ng deal. So, napansin nyo, meron na siyang pipeline. Now, kung nag-usap kami, o kaya nag-replyan kami sa isa't isa, makikita ko siya. Now, kapag si Sheila, binuksan niya yung email, makikita ko rin na inano niya yan, binuksan niya. No? So, balik tayo ngayon sa deals. So, ngayon, meron na akong pipeline ng deals. No? Parang naka-board na siya ngayon. Okay, nasa na siya? Okay? So, meron na siyang, ilan na yung nasa anong stage na yung person. So diyan mo siya makikita. So, if you're working together as a team, then meron kang opportunity na Mali pala to. Palitan natin yung pangalan. Si Sheila pala to. So, kung nag-ano siya, makikita ko na nasa ganyan na siya. So, at least nakikita ko rin kung ano yung sales value na pinatrack ko. Now, kapag nag-add ka ng mga members mo as part of your CRM team, then pwedeng nag pwedeng ikaw yung boss, tapos meron kang mga tao na tumutulong sa'yo. So, namomonitor mo yung situation ng campaign mo throughout the team. So for example, nung nagkaroon kami ng e-commerce summit, yung Ecom Summit.Asia. So I was working with a Cebu team, a Davao team, and a Baguio team. Yun yung mga estudyante ko in different areas. So I have to track how they are marketing, how they are writing to sponsors, among others. So may kanya-kanya silang HubSpot, tapos member ako ng mga HubSpot na yon. Tapos minomonitor ko lang kung ano yung deals nila para makita ko ilan yung nag-inquire about the event, ilan yung sinulatan nilang sponsor, nasa ang stage na sila. And by looking at the deals area, that means hindi na kita kailangan kulitin. I don't have to talk to you anymore. What's the status? Ilan na pinadalhan mo? I don't have to ask about those information anymore. Kasi nakikita ko na nga yung information dun sa website. Okay? Before we leave the topic of Nimble and HubSpot, do you have questions at this point before we move on to Facebook Messenger and Zopim? May question pa ba? May question ba tungkol sa kanila? Okay, sige. So, mukhang wala ng question. So, ang gagawin natin, actually, pwede kayong gumamit ng Facebook Messenger as your CRM platform. So, if you're running your business on Facebook, you can also use Facebook Messenger as your CRM platform. So, what do I mean by that? Punta tayo dito. So, for example, you have a website. One of the things that you can do on your website is you can add a plugin like Facebook Messenger Live Chat from uh, from Zotabox. So, ang magiging itsura niyan sa website mo, meron ka ditong, saan na yung aking binuksan kanina? Nasara ko yata. So, dito, no, pansin nyo, meron siyang, ito, walang Zopim. Nawala yung isang site na binuksan ko kanina. Ito. So, gaya itong site na to, mapapansin nyo, meron ditong chat with us or send us a message. So, ibig sabihin, if you leave a message here, papasok siya dun sa aking Facebook page. No? So, yun ang magiging effect niya kapag nag-leave ka ng chat message dyan. Now, kung gusto mo naman kaming kausapin via Zopim, I think ito yung aming e-commerce program. Zopim pa ang ginagamit ko rito. Minsan gusto ko nang iwan si Zopim pero na-realize ko nung nilalagay ko yung code ng Zotabox dito sa Insta page, hindi siya gumagana eh. Kaya hindi ko pa to matanggal. So ito naman sa Zopim to pumapasok. So kapag sa Zotabox, papasok siya sa CRM mo. So for example, kung may nakipag-chat sa'yo, papasok siya dun sa Facebook Messenger, di ba? So, yung Facebook Messenger natin, meron tayong tinatawag na parang code that you can use, no, your messenger code. So, what others do, nilalagay na nila yan sa business card nila. You can also include it in your packaging. Pwede mo yan ilagay sa mga posters mo, sa flyers mo, para if people scan it, then they can contact you right away. Para hindi ka na nila hahanapin kung ano yung Facebook page mo. This is ideal to use, especially if you are marketing a service that is not entirely your own. Halimbawa, yung mga real estate agents. Di ba yung mga real estate agents, ang dami nilang gumagawa ng mga pages, kapag yung mga pangalan ng mga pages nila, pare-pareho lang kasi they're selling the same property. So kapag ganon, dapat yung flyers mo siguro, yung business card mo, ilagay mo yung messenger code mo para pag zinap nila, talagang alam nila na ikaw yung kausap nila, no? Tapos meron din siyang short code na pwede mong gamitin para makontak ka ng person, no? Tapos, pwede ka rin magkaroon ng response assistant na pwede kang mag-send ng greeting, pwede kang magkaroon ng mga instant reply or away messages para pwede mong sagutin yung tao. No? And then, one of the things that you can also do is that pwede kang maglagay ng label for the person that you're talking to. Pwede kang mag-add or manage ng labels. Yan, no? Important ba siya? Follow-up ba siya? Prospect? No? So, pwede kang student ba siya? Customer mo na ba siya? So, pwede kang mag-add ng label para when you click on that label, lahat ng messages about that label, makikita mo. Like, halimbawa, follow-up siya. So, if you tag someone as follow-up, di ba naalala nyo, doon sa sales cycle natin, merong follow-up, merong new, contacted. So, kung for follow-up na siya, ima-mark mo siya for follow-up para pag kinlik mo yung follow-up label, lahat ng for follow-up, lalabas siya. No? And then, kapag nag-review ka ng profile, sino ba ang pwede natin i-view? So, for example, merong nag-reply dun sa ating ads before. Walang information tungkol sa kanya. Sino ba yung... Dapat kasi meron tayong makikitang public information about the person here. That is assuming na yung account nila ay hindi super private. So, halimbawa, itong kay Jonah, doon sa kanyang Facebook profile, inalaw niya i-display kung saan siya nag-aral, taga saan siya. So, this is an example na nandiyan na yung information. And if you talk to the person, pwede kang mag-add ng notes. No? Para if you hired someone to manage your Facebook Messenger for you, then kung gusto mong i-review yung mga messages, makikita mo yung mga notes, no? And then mapansin nyo, pwede rin kayong maglagay ngayon ng, pwede kang mag-click ng payment request, no? So, mark as paid, or with mark as paid, you can track all payments you receive on Facebook for improved page insight. So, if a person has paid you for a product or service, pwede mo siyang i-mark as paid. I think this is Facebook's way also of tracking kung ano yung e-commerce capability ng kanyang platform, especially now na nag-add na sila ng marketplace. So now, if you want to send a custom reply, meron dito, pwede kang gumawa ng save reply. So, like halimbawa ako, meron na ako mga save replies. So, pwede ako mamili kung ano yung message na gusto kong ipadala. Or I can create a new reply. No? So, halimbawa, usually tatanungin nila how much is the course, online ba siya, or face-to-face. So, kapag halimbawang may mga ganyan tanong, so, imbis na I'm gonna type the answer over and over again, ika-copy-paste ko na lang siya. Pero rather than i-copy-paste ko from one of my answers to another person, dito ko na lang siya titingnan. Kasi para at least merong some form of consistency. Kasi pag type ka ng type, baka mamaya magkaroon ka pa ng misspelling, no? And especially if you are delegating this task to another person. So, halimbawa, ito yung tinanong niya, yan na yon. So, nandyan na yung sagot. Tapos, pwede ko na lang siya i-customize further kung meron akong special na gusto pang sabihin sa kanya o meron pa akong gustong i-clarify based dun sa concerns niya, no? So, depende yun sa inyo kung ano yung gusto niyo ma-achieve. Now, if you're using a chat platform like Zopim, so Zopim looks like this one. Ito kasi nakuha ko to, wala pa yung Zotabox eh. Wala pa mga Facebook live chat platforms before. So I have if your business as a freelancer, let's say you want to render a freelancer business to MSME. Tapos ang business na gusto mong i-set up ay taga-answer ng chat messages. Then kailangan mo ng Zopim. So you just create a Zopim account. And then, ilagay mo siya dun sa mga websites ng clients mo. Tapos, i-ready mo lang yung mga script mo for your answers. Then, pwede ka na maging chat support for your clients. So, magkakaroon ka ng idea kung ilan ang visitors ngayon dun sa website. So, sabi niya ngayon, okay, ito yung mga taong nasa website ngayon. So, ano yung mga binivisit ng site? So, meron tumitingin doon sa certified e-commerce specialist, internet history, kapos isang search visitor na galing sa Google. No? Hindi lahat kasi na site namin naka-Zopim, so konti na lang siya. I also have a history of messages that I have received, no? And then, pwede ko siyang sagutin, no? So, for example, meron siyang mga tanong. So, pwede ko siyang sagutin based dun sa tanong niya, no? So yan yung mga ways. So although hindi ko siya masasagot dito, sa offline ko na siya sasagutin. If I upgrade, pwede pa ako magkaroon ng analytics saka monitor, pero hindi naman ako ganun kapraning sa kanya. Tapos pwede kang mag-set up ng mga agents, pwede kang mag-set ng mga routing, mga rules, kung ano yung mga messages na pwede niyang ipadala. Okay? So that is an example of how Zopim works. Yung nga lang, I have to warn you, kapag inon mo si Zopim, talagang medyo ano siya, maingay siya. Like, tik, talagang may nakikipag-chat sa'yo. Since Digital Filipino is full of articles, so ang dami ko nakukuha chat messages na more or less puro students, no? So kaya ano siya, mas sinasagutan ko siya. Kaya hindi lahat basta-basta ko nasasagot kasi syempre kailangan kong piliin din. Kaya ang ginagawa ko na lang, kadalasan, ni-review ko na lang yung mga offline, especially pag ganitong nasa travel o nasa webinar, hindi ka naman talaga makakatutok. Pero kapag nasa CRM mode ako, meaning sinasagot ko lahat yung mga emails, I have allotted time for that, then automatic ino-on ko rin yung Zopim para anything na pumasok by that time, sige, okay lang. Pwede ako ma-disturb ng ganitong time. No? So parang ganun yung idea sa kanya. Alright? So I hope this learning session is helpful to you. And then don't forget, our next session is tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to talk about e-commerce site management. And if you're interested in that, you can also attend. Okay, so for us to proceed with our Q&A, you can already type your questions using our questions box or press the raise your hand button for your question.